Hi, I'm AVNJ, and I'm in the middle of the Arizona desert. It's currently 105 degrees outside, and I'm going to try to find some rare fish. Let's do it. In this episode of AVNJ's Adventures, I catch some of the rarest fish in the world. I find beautiful aquarium fish living in a desert oasis. I fight my way through black widow spiders, and much, much more. Stay tuned. When you step into the creek and you're surrounded by the greenery that the creek provides for, it suddenly doesn't feel like I'm so far from home. It doesn't feel like I'm in the desert, just in this one spot. The moment I go past the creek bed, cacti coming from the hills, dry soil, snakes, lizards. But right here is where I can find fish. And our first cool species out of the creek, a giant water bug. Don't mind all the baby striders. That is a giant toe biter water bug. I've never seen any of them ones on the west coast, so I'm sure this is probably a new species to me. Hey, there's also a diving beetle in there too. And for our forced fish, we have some familiar guys, things that we have back in Jersey, some suckers. These are of course not the same suckers that we have in New Jersey. These are either desert suckers or Sonora suckers to get a better picture to make sure they're identifiable later, but that is a new species for me either way. And for my second swing, I got two big catfish, presumably not mad toms, bullheads, too big to be mad toms, and then another sucker. I'm just gonna photograph everything because I don't quite know the characteristics that I'm looking for to distinguish the various suckers. So I'll just make sure I get every one, and hopefully I get both while I'm here. You have to be careful with these guys, these catfish, because you see their pectoral spines and their dorsal spine is very sharp, can poke you real good. Unlike mad toms, they don't have venom in them, so it's not going to, leave a lasting effect. But this is a yellow bullhead. You can see the lightly colored barbels on the chin, which differentiates yellow bullhead from black and brown bullhead. But yeah, really, you got to pay attention to those spines when you handle them. It can get you real good, stab you real good. And from a little side pool, I caught what looked to me from above to be little live bearers, like maybe mosquito fish or top minnows. But as I look at them closer, they are in fact baby suckers. So these are just tiny, tiny guys, tiny versions of the guys that we were seeing up there, which is pretty cool. Alrighty, I have acquired my first minnow, though it's a decent sized one. My guess is Gila chub or Gia chub, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, because I think that's the only minnow looking minnow in this area. But I could be wrong. We'll get it in hand and see. That is indeed what it appears to be, though of course I could be wrong. I'm no expert on the fish here. In fact, I'm probably one of the least informed people on the fish here, other than the people who didn't Google it briefly and read one page. But it is a very pretty minnow, very pretty shiner. Caught it under a log jam. Hopefully I can find more pretty shiners like that. Okay, I think I caught a smaller Gila chub amongst a bunch of baby suckers in a little side pool. The stream's getting a little wider, which is nice. Hopefully be better habitat for shiners. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure this is a Gila chub, but we'll see. Well, that is probably the biggest chub I will catch. Looks to be the same as the other ones, the Gila chub, but it's a big boy, which is nice. Get the best specimen we can. All right. Cool bird. It has been about 2 hours. I've searched the creek up and down. I've just been catching suckers, the chubs. So I think that is probably, sorry, I'm getting attacked by a few flies, probably where I'm going to end this location. I'll see if I find anything on the walk back to the car. Just making sure to stay hydrated, stay sunscreened up, and stay safe. I haven't seen a snake. I only saw a couple lizards. I've mostly just been catching fish, photographing them, and then photographing birds, and then plants too, because every plant here is new to me. I mean, there's like cacti on the cliff sides there. I don't know if, yeah, you can see them behind me a little bit. It's pretty cool. We're in like a nice, pretty, wow, that is a tiny bird. We're in a nice, gorgeous valley here that's like all green and lush. And then right outside of this little valley, it's all just pure desert, just cacti and sandy soil. Really cool. It's like an oasis. If you listen to the bird that is calling, that is a white-winged dove. You know that one song that goes, just like a white-winged dove? Yeah, that guy was actually in love with a dove. That's the true story of the song. Well, this might be the only opportunity I have to get one on camera. So there's a lizard. I don't know what kind of lizard. I don't know anything about reptiles. There's a lizard hanging out on a tree. He ran away from me and now he's just chilling. There he goes. Hi, buddy. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see, but there's a big school of suckers and then some interesting looking dace down there. Oh, geez, and something just jumped out of the water. I wonder if there's a trout in here too. My thought is I may not be able to catch the things that I'm looking for, but I could place, oh, there's a big chub. If I put my camera down underwater and then let the footage, you know, do its thing and I go about elsewhere, maybe, just maybe, I could get some footage of maybe a spike dace or something else interesting. There's a lot of minnows on the sidebar here, but I don't want to scare everybody, so I think I'm just going to slowly wander in, put my camera in there, let it sit, and then continue my journey for a bit. Well, I caught one of the suckers, in addition to taking a bunch of underwater footage. So I've caught a bunch of suckers today. Hopefully, if I got both species, you know, I got them on camera because I photographed pretty much every one I did. I wanted to know what the minnows are in here, but I'm pretty sure they're just gila chub. I don't see any with any like modeling that would indicate spike dace or speckled dace. So I probably actually will stop this time. I said I was going to stop, but I just keep looking downstream. It just keeps looking like interesting habitat. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I have in fact decided to go. Don't worry, my face is red because I'm sweaty, not because I got sunburnt. I think, probably, I wasn't in the sun much. Just cooling off the car, and then I will head out. The next spot is in North Arizona. It's probably like 3.5 to 4, maybe even more hours away. So I'm not even sure if I'll make it there tonight. I'm just gonna drive until, you know, I'm too tired to drive and then figure it out. But that's all I got. That is pretty much the species here we would not have found anywhere else. I mean, this was like the opportunity to find a lot of these things. I didn't find longfin dace, which were supposed to be pretty common. Maybe I missed those, I don't know. Maybe I did catch them and I misidentified or whatever. I didn't find speckled dace, which I maybe expected, and I didn't find spike dace, which was what I was hoping for most. But found a lot of cool fish, a lot of cool birds, a lot of cool plants, and some lizards. It was a good trip. Thank you, Random Valley in the Arizona Canyon. Well, I have fully embraced my birder genetics, and I'm just, oh, look at that. I'm just doing the slow drive. It's about a 12 mile on this really bumpy, sandy, terrible gravel road, all the way from like the highway to the campsite that I was at. And on the way, there are just tons of cool birds and snakes and all sorts of stuff. So I've got my camera on around my neck, and I'm just driving slowly because there's not a damn other person on the road. It's just literal nothingness. And I can just stop when I see a cool bird, take a picture. A couple boars have crossed the road. That's right, wild pigs. I assume they're not native, but I'm not 100% sure. It's really cool. It's really pretty. You can see I'm just driving on a random mountainside road. Crazy, looking at cool birds. Okay, so I'm gonna do this part through post narration because this creek that I came to in the middle of the night was in the middle of a neighborhood, and I didn't want to talk out loud and, you know, have people come out and be like, what are you doing in my backyard? This is a Coosa bass. It's a type of smallmouth species. This is a young red shiner. That's pretty much the only cyprinella looking fish in the area. A lot of them that I caught were that. That's a green sunfish. All three of these have been invasive, by the way. Not one of these three fish are native. If that tells you anything about the quality of the stream. And this is just a bigger red shiner. The only cool thing that I did catch at this creek was a desert sucker, which is this guy, which I did not catch at the other creek, so that's nice. All right, it's the next day, and I figured I'd give you an update. I just woke up. It's like
8 a.m., not that bad. I'm kind of on Phoenix time or Arizona time or West Coast time, whatever. I looked through all of the pictures. There were a lot of cool birds that I saw and didn't know what they were, so I got to add those to the list. But in terms of fish, the big fish that we caught were gila chub. However, on the underwater footage, and one time I caught a longfin dace, and I did not recognize that it was a longfin dace. So I actually caught both of the dace that I was looking for, both of those shiners. So that adds up to 4 species. And then it turns out that I caught both suckers. However, I didn't catch both suckers at the canyon. I only caught Sonora sucker the whole time at the canyon. The only time that I caught a desert sucker was at that stream that I hit last night that was awful. So it was a good thing that I went to that terrible, ugly stream last night, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have ever gotten a desert sucker. So I ended up with 5 lifers thus far. It's pretty damn cool. Today I continue to head north. I'm going to head past Las Vegas. There's a spring there that people have released aquarium fish into, and now they've just established themselves. So there's a spring just full of cichlids and other crap. That'll be cool, that I can just get a bunch of lifers from things that I would normally have to travel to foreign, different continents to get. And then there is the Moapa Preserve. And the Moapa Preserve has 2 endemic, I think it's Moapa poolfish and Moapa dace, has 2 endemic fish that are only in that little section of pools and streams there. I'm probably not going to be able to net them, but I'm going to try and get some good underwater footage of them. It doesn't seem too hard. Lots of people have done it, so that'll be another 2. We'll call them lifers. If you can't catch them, I'm taking underwater footage. I'll call them lifers. So let's get going.
All right, after a 5-hour drive, I am at Rogers Spring, which is a tiny spring full of warm water that feeds into Lake Mead, the giant body of water in the mountains here in Nevada, I think, above Las Vegas. It's what the Hoover Dam holds in, the famous gigantic dam that we have. The lake is back there, the spring is here. A lot of people seem to have released aquarium pets into the spring. I don't know how or why or when, but the spring is absolutely loaded with random invasive aquarium pets. So it's a good place to get a bunch of lifers where I would normally have to go to a different continent. So I'm excited. It's like 105, maybe 106 degrees outside. Sick. All right, Zach from the future here again. It was really windy and all of the audio is unusable. So this is what the spring looks like. It comes out of the ground, goes through this rock structure, and then through this little green valley in the desert that goes all the way down to the main lake. There's a ton of aquarium fish in there, like this guy. It's a common molly. Some really pretty aquarium fish swimming around. I only managed to catch that one and this one, which is some sort of cichlid, or maybe a Texas cichlid. But there were a lot of other really pretty things in the area, and we even hiked up to the top of this hill to get an outlook on the spring in general. You can see there the whole puddle that comes out of the ground and the path that goes along it and the beautiful green. It's a really pretty place. All right, I am at this nice spring-fed river called the Muddy River or Moapa River. The headwaters of it are actually where Moapa dace, an endemic species, live, but we can't see those because those are protected, and only sometimes of the year you can go into the reserve and maybe take some underwater footage. Maybe I'll see if I can do that, but I don't think they're open right now. But this is like the main part of the Muddy River. My God, it is difficult to find public access to any sort of water body out here. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot less water, so people are a lot more privatized about their water, but it's a pain. So finally, I found some access to a river. Hopefully, I don't even know what's here. This wasn't a pin. This was just something I found along the highway on my way towards California. So maybe I catch something cool. Maybe I don't. We'll find out. Well, this might be a bit tougher than originally implied. I don't actually know how deep it is. It's not that deep right here, but it looks completely invisible out there. It's like green. I do see some fish, mostly top minnows that are probably just mollies, and it's quite warm. Yeah, we'll see. Woohoo, the classic, a mosquito fish. Who would have thought there'd be a mosquito fish in a place anywhere in the world? Oh my God, they're fucking everywhere. Woo. Christ. That is a big larva. I don't want it to bite me. Jesus. Okay, sorry it's loud. I'm in the riffle. I don't know what exactly I caught, It may just be a longfin dace or round-tail chub, because I've seen a ton of them in general, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Caught this in the riffle, so apparently I'm doing something right in the riffle. Outside of the riffle, I'm just only finding live bearers, so. And here is another one, or maybe the same one downstream. I don't know, who knows? But they're very pretty. I think we're out of range for the round-tail chub, which is the one we were catching earlier. So it might be the same genus, but a different species, or if I'm incredibly unlucky, it's just the same damn species. But it's still cool to catch some big ones. Well, it appears that even Moapa Springs has been polluted by aquarium fish. This is a, I think, common molly that was blending in with all the big mosquito fish, which are what the rest of these guys are. There's just one molly with all the mosquito fish. Pretty cool to see a molly, but unfortunate with all the invasives in this stream. Well, as I learn the stream, I'm getting better at catching stuff. Whatever these chubs are, they can't be too uncommon, because catching 3 in one scoop now. They kind of look like the longfin dace. I wonder if that's just what they are. It'd be cool to get a better shot of one, because I got a pretty bad shot yesterday, so I wouldn't be mad about that. Well, that's not something I expected. Cyprinella. Presumably a red shiner, since that's what's invasive around here. Not something I expected in this creek, but I guess they're just everywhere in the damn country. It's still cool. Check out the patterning on this crayfish too. I don't exactly know what it is. I've never seen any patterning like that, so I bet it's a cool native crayfish, because that's pretty dope patterning. Oh, and if you've heard the word spring a billion times and you're like, oh, this comes from a spring, but you have no concept of what a spring actually is, let me help you out, because there's one right here. See the sand moving right there? Yeah, that's water coming from underground. It comes down this little hill right here and feeds this creek and makes it a little bit bigger. And when there's a ton of those in an area feeding to a low point, they create these rivers, which are fed entirely by springs. But yeah, that was pretty cool. You can just see the spring active right there. All right, that is about all I got for that spot. Now I continue heading west. I'm heading towards Death Valley, where the desert hole pupfish is, and the desert pupfish maybe. There's a couple pupfish and other stuff in that area. It's not going to be open right now. I don't know if I can still go to the park at night. We'll see. If it is, I'll try to get some photos at night. If it's not open, I will probably hang around and wait until the morning. That's about it. I think I'm done with, what state am I in? Nevada. And I'm done with Arizona. So I think we're just on Cali now for the rest of the trip. I'm excited to see what California has to offer. Well, it's the middle of the night, and I am in true buttfuck. Truly the middle of nowhere. Probably the furthest I've ever been from other human beings, at the entrance to Death Valley National Park along this random back road in the mountains. There's just nothingness in every direction. It's quite serene, actually. Anyways, I've set up, there are moths everywhere and grasshoppers. I've set up the UV light on the Death Valley National Park sign, and I'm gonna just sit in my car, because there's a decent connection here, and watch a YouTube video, and then I will check on the bugs afterwards, and hopefully it attracts some stuff. I don't know, we'll see. Well, I suppose this answers a question I've always had when UV headlamping, and was that all the bug people out west are just better at it and have better setups, or do they just have more stuff going on? And the answer seems to be more stuff going on, because this has been active for a solid 5 seconds. That's a joke, it's been about 5 minutes, and the amount of moths that are already here is ridiculous. So definitely cool moths, cool wasps, cool grasshoppers, but the craziest thing, and let me get this, is this, which some of you guys might have seen before, because it's probably the most famous spider in the world. That's right, that's a black widow. I don't know if it's a southern black widow or what other subspecies, or not subspecies, species there are. But yeah, if you're ever going to Death Valley National Park, I suppose it's quite fitting that on the sign to Death Valley National Park, there's a black widow. Christ, what the fuck is that? I don't mean to be exaggeratory, but holy grass, you guys have no sense of scale. Hold on a minute. That's a big fucking grasshopper. Jesus. All right, while waiting for the light trap, I was looking at all the photos from today and just going through and organizing things. And I think the chub that I caught a bunch of, I was right in the vibe that it was in that Gila genus. So I looked at the ranges, and that is out of range for the round-tail chub, the one that we caught in South Arizona a bunch, which means that I believe it's the Virgin River chub, which is pretty cool because that means that I caught another minnow that I had not yet caught. So that makes 3 official lifers for the day, and then I've got a bunch of underwater footage of various things that hopefully I've got underwater footage of cool fish that I'll be able to put on iNat, and those aren't technically lifers, but you know, they're more photos of fish that I've taken. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to check the UV light now and then put it away for the night and go to sleep. Tomorrow I am going to be in California. I think the first stop is for a trout and a sucker, and then we're heading all the way up towards NorCal by San Francisco and spending most of the day, or probably all of the day, in NorCal, and then, you know, the next day we'll work our way down. I'll keep you updated. Let's check the light. I think I've seen my first scorpion. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is a scorpion. Where is it? There it is. Right? That's got it. It's some sort of arachnid, if not a scorpion. Well, I don't know what that thing was. It was like a tailless scorpion, but there's all sorts of fun crap running around right now on this nightlight. I'm going to try and make a short about the black widow because I think it's incredibly funny that there is a black widow on the Welcome to Death Valley sign. And then I'm going to turn the light off and go to bed, and that'll probably be my night. So I'll see you tomorrow. Well, it is the next day, and I've been driving on my way to the place for a trout and a sucker in California. And I decided to take a little stop because I've been on these like desert mountain roads for hours. And I found quite a beautiful stop. You might be able to hear the wind outside of the car. I took some videos so that I can accompany me explaining this. It's probably like 50-mile-per-hour winds or more. They were knocking me over, making it impossible to hold my camera straight. Coming up out of the canyon, there's these swifts, which are these super fast birds diving in and out of the wind all over the place. And then there's this really beautiful hawk overhead. I don't know if it's hunting them or they seem a bit too fast for a hawk. I'm not sure. But it was a really like picturesque scene. Got a picture of some cool plants and bugs and stuff, and now continue on my way to the fish. Well, I can certainly see how this would be a nice trout stream, though I don't think there's even a 1% chance that I can wade in this. I mean, my God. I don't even know how I would go about it. It's all boulders. There's nothing to flip. Just get swept away. So this one may be a wash. May have to move on to the next site. See if I can find a calmer area, but I doubt it. Well, I have been driving for about another 2 hours. Yeah, there's a lot of driving on this trip. I'll show you guys a map at some point. It's ridiculous. But along the side of the highway, I saw a road that would maybe let me access some water. It sounds like it's going kind of fast, but hopefully not too bad. And hopefully I can find some fish. I think I might still be in range for the trout that I was trying to get earlier, or maybe even the sucker. I don't know. So, oh, here we go. Water. Oh, geez. Oh, God. Why do I do this to myself? All right, we'll see. Maybe I can get in, maybe I can't. I also wanted to test a theory I had. So it's 100 degrees outside, and I figure if I leave this in the direct sunlight, and I don't have like a black cooking surface, but you know, leave it in the direct sunlight while I'm in the creek and come back, will it be warm enough to eat? We shall find out. Well, sheesh, check this guy out. Gigantic bullfrog. I think they have the same bullfrog species we do. Bye-bye. This section of the creek looks a bit more reasonable than over there, but who knows? I don't know if I can actually wade. I don't know. We'll see. I think I could maybe find the suckers here. The trout seems unlikely. And who knows? Maybe there's some other minnows that I don't realize I'm in range for, but I am in range for. This is the fun of taking random stops, is I have no idea what I'll come across. Jesus, man, that ain't a crayfish, that's a goddamn lobster. That is the biggest crayfish I've ever seen by quite a bit. Holy hell. I mean, straight up, man, this thing is a freaking lobster. Ah, oh my God, huge. All right, well, color me a bit confused because I've tried a good bit. I mean, it is deep at the center, so it's not like I can do a thorough search, but I have not been able to find any fish. But that big crayfish must be eating something, and it's presumably fish. So there's probably fish in here. This thing is just a little high right now, which, ah well. But side note, someone who has garden herb experience probably knows what all this crap is. Is it rosemary or thyme? I'm not sure, but it smells like an herbal cooking ingredient that my grandmother would use. I'm almost positive this is like rosemary or thyme. It's not basil. I know what basil looks like, but oh my God, the smell is so strong. That's crazy. It's just growing wild on the banks of the creek here. All right, well, I gave the creek a fair shot. I was not able to find a fish. Check out this background though, by the way. Surely that's not snow because it is over 100 degrees down here and I can't imagine it's that cold up there, but Mountain Peak's pretty cool. I gave it my best in terms of cooking my SpaghettiOs, my knockoff SpaghettiOs, but this can is not very warm and I don't really want to eat cold SpaghettiOs. So at the next spot where I'm going to stay a while, and also it'll be later in the day so it'll be hotter, I'll put it out again. Maybe try to find something black I can put it on so that it absorbs more heat. We'll see. I want to cook them. It'd be cool. All right, to the next spot. All right. A bug just landed on my face. I wonder if you saw that. Welcome to beautiful, sunny Northern California. I don't really know where I am. I think this is a tributary of Lake Tahoe, or maybe it's the downflow after Lake Tahoe. I don't know, but it's very pretty. It's less water than I've been dealing with today, which hopefully means it's more manageable. This creek has a lot of like chubs and shiners. It also has a unique sculpin that's only here. And to be honest, this looks like sculpin habitat. So hopefully I should be able to find that. I kind of want to stay here till nighttime to have my best chance at the shiners, because I've got a chance at like 6 lifers today and I haven't seen a single fish today. I don't think I've seen a single fish today. So I might stay here all day and night. We'll see. It's just easier to find shiners at night. Give it our best. Can't argue with how beautiful the water is. It's crystal clear. Presumably this is coming right out of the lake. I think that's the only way it's this clear without being so cold. There's nice side pools where I see fish that are probably just mosquito fish, but whatever. Maybe I find a shiner. Oh, shiners. Okay, let me do my best. All right, so the first thing I caught that I guess is not particularly surprising given this is a very heavily trafficked area is a bunch of baby trout. I don't know what species they stock here. These kind of look like browns to me, but I'm not really sure. But there are some pretty shiners over here that I'm gonna try to catch. I think I should be able to get a lifer, at least one. Hopefully I can get a lot. I think I had a list of like 7 different species that could be here that I want, so let's see. All right, from this crystal clear side pool, I got what I believe to be the easiest lifer here. I think this is a speckled dace. I'll get it on its side to take nice photos so you guys can get a better idea of what it looks like. Quite pretty. It's in the same genus as the black-nosed dace and the long-nosed dace that we have in New Jersey, so it's cool to get another member of the genus. I don't remember if this is its own species or if this is the regular speckled dace, because they recently split speckled dace into like 8 species, but I think the ones in California are all the common one. I might be wrong though. We'll see. Okay, upon further inspection, I no longer think this is a speckled dace. The face is completely wrong unless I've just like misread what speckled dace look like. So this might be like a tui chub or something else. I probably have to relook at the list of what's actually here, but pretty sure it's not a speckled dace, which is cool because it means I could still catch a speckled dace and get 2 lifers here, whatever that guy was, and some other stuff. And I saw some, oh yeah, here, there's a big group of minnows, and some of them have some color on them. So I'm gonna try to get some of the pretty ones. Holy crap. That is one of the prettiest minnows I've ever caught. I think that might be a colored up speckled dace, and I have never seen a speckled dace photo online colored up. Holy shit. That is a gorgeous fish. Oh my God. What an incredible fish, an incredible photo. That is gonna be one that my friends are gonna be jealous of. Wow, cool. Okay, never mind. I briefly looked at that photo and it had the same face shape as a speckled dace, or no, the one before. I don't know what I'm talking about. Those were the same species, but that one was crazy. I don't know what that is, and I am excited to find out at a later date because holy crap, that one was crazy. Cool. Jesus, there are some pretty fish in this creek. Check this out. This is a red side of some sort, probably Lahontan red side. I think that's the local one, but my God. I could see that there was red stuff underwater, but I thought it was just the same species as what I was catching. That is absolutely not the same species. So I think those are the two dominant minnows that I've seen. Those are the only two things I've really seen swimming out in the open. I can still try to hit up a bunch of, weeds and hope to pull something else unique out. But my guess is those are the two easy and, my God, beautiful fish in here. And in a little pool, I caught the local sucker species. I forget if it's called Lahontan sucker or what, but little baby version of whatever sucker that is. Very beautiful. I just want to shout out how incredible this place is. This is a salmon run stream, so just imagine being here in this crystal clear water during the salmon run. I mean, you've got to be able to see so much. It's so cool. It's just gorgeous. Okay, I am not in fact staying there all day. I'm going to head towards San Francisco for my final hours of the night. Probably won't get there tonight. I'll probably stop in the middle to sleep. But I looked back, and speckled dace do have a little bit of a weird chubby face. So those first two fish that I caught were in fact speckled dace. The rest were Lahontan red side, and then the sucker is called a Tahoe sucker. So that is 3 lifers at that location, Lake Tahoe. Pretty cool. I did take some underwater footage. Maybe I'll go back through that footage later and see if there's something else on there that I didn't notice. But now we're moving to the coastline, and that's where we will be for the rest of the trip. So I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to try to hit, I guess, the freshwater spots in San Francisco during the day, and then at nighttime head to the ocean spots for my first taste of the Pacific Ocean. I've never fished the Pacific Ocean because when I was in Malaysia, that was on the west side, so that was technically the Indian Ocean. So this will be my first time fishing the Pacific Ocean. There's a lot of fish to catch. I'm really excited. I will see you tomorrow. All right, I am now in beautiful coastal California. I've arrived at what I guess during like a flooded rainy season is a creek. This is like a whole big creek bed, but at the moment it's just a few shallow pools. I think there's 2 target species here, but I'll also just like fish for a while because it's really nice. It's in a state park. It's a cute area. I'm hearing a lot of cool birds. And just see what we come across. All right, so I started in this pool. That is a big group of sunfish. There was one, I think, roach with them. So ideally I will catch that roach, or I'll just find another in another pool. But to start off, I got what I thought would be the easier thing, which is the Sacramento sucker. We've had a good trip in terms of suckers, which is wild because usually suckers hate me and I have a terrible time catching them. But there's a Sacramento sucker for you. New species of sucker. And there it is, a bigger coastal roach. I was catching tons of baby coastal roach, but now I actually have an adult. I'm trying to get a picture for you guys. That's what they look like. Not crazy interesting, just the typical minnow shape, being a minnow in this pool. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that'll be all for this spot. I don't really need a bigger sucker. That sucker was good enough, although obviously I'd prefer a bigger sucker. It is what it is. We'll take this. All right, I am at a coastal marsh for my first taste of the Pacific Ocean in saltwater. I've got my bird camera because I expect to see a bunch of shorebirds I wouldn't normally see. And I've, of course, got my dip net to see some fish that I would not see. And right off the bat, we got what I believe I came here for. I think this is a longjaw mudsucker, which is what I pinned this location specifically for. So, woohoo! Okay, I was thinking that there weren't really tide pools of any sort here, but in this tiny pool, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a big fish in this like tiny subset of water that's separated. So hopefully if I can move some rocks, I can catch him. It's probably just a big mudsucker, but it'll be cool nonetheless. Well, I don't know what this is. It might be a mudsucker, just a big one, but it certainly appears that someone got trapped in the pools here, because he is long dead, unfortunately. He's quite pretty though. If this is what they look like when they get big, that's crazy. I think the West Coast may just have less estuarine, is that a word? I don't know, diversity than we do. Because like this sounds insane if you've never been to the East Coast, but this like tiny, crappy, muddy little pool right here would just be filled with mummy chalk. And California has a killifish. It has the California killifish, but I haven't seen one. Like, where do they live if not these awful and muddy environments where no one else can live? I don't know. I'm gonna try walking out on the sand. We'll see what we can do. Maybe I'll find some. Okay, I found this nice rocky part where they have like the estuary flowing into a different estuary, which is funny that the diversity comes about when humans create weird environments. But from that, I have gotten a stickleback. I believe a 3-spine stickleback, which is pretty cool. There's also some other big fish here that I'm gonna have to try and catch, but I'm not exactly sure what they are yet. Okay, I think I managed to trap one of the bigger fish, and it looks to be a bigger longjaw mudsucker, which is cool because it means I can get better photos. I do see another stickleback. Just trying to keep track of what I find so I have an idea of what I'm looking for and what I'm not. But cool, bigger guy. Check it out, baby longjaw mudsucker. Just chilling in the flow. He's so tiny and adorable, oh my god. Hello. Well, I caught a nicer stickleback. Very pretty. You can see the 3 spines on his back. That makes it a 3-spine stickleback. And the fins. Seems like this rock area is mostly just stickleback and mudsucker, but I'll give it a few more tries just in case. Well, I will try a few more swipes on my way out, but I think the conclusion that I'm coming to is that the niche that killifish usually fill, here longjaw mudsuckers fill. I don't know if that's the case across the entire estuarine habitat of California, because I did see California killifish pins all in like estuarine habitats. So maybe it's time of the year thing, I don't know. We'll see. I will go to more locations and hopefully find California killifish, but getting 2 lifers here is pretty cool, and good ones, good adult, good photos, which I'm never mad about. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's like miles of tide pool. Like, I'm not kidding, there's like miles of coastline tide pool. Oh, rock squirrel, or canyon squirrel, or whatever the California one is. Anyways, there's a shitload of tide pools. We're gonna have to come back at like 3 a.m. when it's low tide, because, you know, they're not currently tide pools, because, you know, tide. And then we'll come back at like 3 a.m. and there'll be no one here, and it'll be dark, and I will just scour tide pools all night and hopefully find tons of cool shit. Oh my god, this place is incredible. This is, when I imagined what tide pools and searching them would be like, I imagined it not this intense, because in New Jersey we have like 3 relevant tide pools, and they're probably the size of like that little cove there, and they're like 100 miles apart from each other. So this much in one place is just absurd. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for tonight. I've just got to kill about 9 hours. I'll probably get dinner and then sleep, set my alarm for like 2:30 a.m. and then come in and begin the search. See you then. All right, good morning. So let me update you on all of the things that happened overnight. So first things first, I found out that you're not allowed to net fish in the tide pools, which I kind of expected, which is why I looked it up. So fair enough. Wasn't allowed to do that. But that being said, I have an underwater camera, so that's not a huge deal, because I could just take underwater photos of all the fish and then identify them later. And then I could go to a beach that was not tide pools in order to find fish that I could catch. So that was my plan. So I come out here at like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. to the tide pools, and it's pitch black out. The sun does rise early here, but not that early. And I have my headlamp on and I'm shining it around. I'm like starting to walk around in the tide pools, and I see eyes shining back at me, like 2 or 3 sets of eyes. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's seals, I'm sure there's, I don't know, do they have raccoons on the East Coast? They have to, right? There's ground squirrels, there's all sorts of things with eyes that could shine back at me. And my worst thought of like the absolute worst case is like they're coyotes. They're coyotes scouring the tide pools for food, which would not be horribly surprising, but that was like worst case scenario. And so I'm scouring the tide pools, I take a few photos, and then I get like a better look of one of the things that eyes had shown back at me. I sort of like look at it and I see it a little bit better. And the way it moved and the size it had, I'm like, mountain lion. That's a fucking mountain lion. Now, I did look at iNaturalist after because I was curious. There are no reports of mountain lions in the area, so maybe they were just coyotes, but I don't know. That thing was not that far from me, and it was pretty fucking big, and it did not move like a dog. It moved like a cat. But I could be wrong. Maybe it was something completely different. I don't know. But anyways, needless to say, I noped out of there. So I went to some other local beaches, didn't really find any fish, and then came back here once it was daytime, because it was still low tide around sunrise this morning. I mean, it's sunrise right now, and it's still low tide. Came back here, did not catch any fish, sorry. Came back here, and recorded some underwater fish, mostly sculpin, I think a gunnel or kelp fish or two. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. I tried to get some other fish. It's really difficult to navigate on the rocks and you don't want to like hurt anything. So I did my best. We shall see. Ah, well. All right, it is my final day in California. I fly home tonight. I'm probably about done for fishing. I came here, if you didn't know, for the Tetris World Championship that happened this weekend, and that's what I was doing all this weekend. I didn't do any fishing. That's why you guys don't know because the video just skips, but it's been 3 days since I recorded the last thing. So I came here for the Tetris World Championship. That's over now, so I'm going home, but I'll be back next year for the Tetris World Championship again. So I was like, why would I pressure myself to put in a lot of time and get all these locations done this weekend, and then I'll have nothing to do next year. So next year we'll have just a proper LA trip, and I can actually go for like arroyo chub and desert pupfish and Santa Ana speckled dace and the cool freshwater fish that are actually in the area, instead of trying to force them into this weekend when I'm already tired and quite busy. So that was it for this AVNJ's Adventures, the whole West Coast trip. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a nice day.